23rd century. The perfect world of total pleasure. The only thing you can't have in the 23rd century is your 30th birthday. Logan is 29.
I'm your friend, I understand, but she's a runner, and it's over.
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer presents Logan.
Now playing at red carpet theaters everywhere. Check newspapers for listings.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
With these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Now we got drinks? Oh, they free.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
All right, everybody.
Yeah. I've just noticed that with my new haircut and in a week's worth of stubble, I look like a Russian guy in like a bad gangster film. Yeah.
Where's
He's on it
you're just missing a jumpsuit, and for John Wick to kill you.
Welcome to Anarchy 1990.
Yes, it's a very good club. Yes, take off your clothes now.
Automatically 20%, 100% better than what I just did. Sorry, but yeah, distracted by my stunning good looks. This is Scott at Moviesucktastic, and that's Joey, and we are here to talk about Logan's Run.
Yeah, we have moved over from 1975 into 1976.
Transcended, I would say,
into the 20th century.
Well, we're still in the fucking 70s, so everything's shit. So
well,
it is all right. All things considered, it is the lowest cultural point ever in the history of the fucking planet. With that, we can guarantee we can agree on that, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
okay.
Listen,
that's all I'm saying.
We're spending a lot of time in the 70s because I don't think we're ever going to leave the 80s.
Alive.
I mean, we have reviewed quite a few films from the 80s, but there is just so many more.
I have an important Moviesucktastic announcement to make.
Oh.
I, S. Michael Wilson, have followed through on a project.
Really?
What I have done is I have actually assembled an Excel spreadsheet here covering every film we have reviewed on the show. And by reviewed, I'm meaning highlighting as the major feature of an episode where it's advertised as such, and not just because we mentioned it on the show. I have it broken down by year. And so, for example, I can tell you, since we're going into 1976, we have already reviewed 5 films in 1976.
Just in our normal podcast before the...
Just in the normal podcast. We have reviewed Ape, which was...
a Gino Cuddy request.
Yes, it was a Gino Cuddy request. Then there was Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy Malone, okay.
Death Machines.
Oh, man, that was one of... Was that one of mine? Was it a challenge from me or you? I think you challenged that.
I think that's a challenge from me.
No, I want to say that was me.
It could go either way. At this point,
okay, go ahead.
Then God Told Me To.
Oh my God, that's right.
And JD's Revenge.
I just want to do lines from that, but
now
you got to do a disclaimer every time you do a line from that movie.
Yeah. That's why we don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And nor do we talk about it.
No.
So anyway,
when we reviewed that episode, I think that when I did a line from it, you were like, disclaimer, everyone.
Hold on.
Hold on a second.
Now, so since we started this new format in the year 1973, which is the year of my birth,
Yes.
I want to point out that we have only reviewed, and let me just get my numbers straight here, 8 films that were released previous to that day, that year.
Oh.
That's basically all of the Bela Lugosi films reviewed.
Right.
For my book, performed by Lugosi. Then Rosemary's Baby, which was 68.
Okay.
Women in Love, God help us, which was
God.
in 69.
Yeah,
And
that was like episode 9.
10.
10?
I have a broken my episode as well. Dude, I got this shit covered.
So that was the episode we did Women in Love, and we did 2 movies, right?
Yeah.
That was a double?
Yeah. If I sort it by number, I can tell you, but I don't want to do that right now.
No, I think it was Women in Love and Heaven's Gate. Dear
right,
God, did we do a 4-hour movie and a 2-hour movie?
Hold on, let me restart my whole list.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on, Mister got to break my groove. Looker. We did. It was Women in Love and Looker.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Hold on, I got to resort my list, jerk. And then the last one was Watermelon Man from 1970.
Okay.
Speaking of disclaimers,
I still like that movie. I like that movie.
Oh, Watermelon Man was a classic. Yeah. No one will argue that. Just as two middle-aged white guys, you got to watch what you say.
There was the Blu-ray the Blu-ray of that actually was released not that long ago.
Yeah, I upgraded.
So I upgraded.
That's a show that's a film we're keeping. So technically we're already 5 films into 1976. So this is going to be our 6th film from that year.
Wow.
We review. And I'll be on top of this stuff. Oh, by the way, this is all based on up until the most recent episode of iTunes released.
Oh, right.
So I'm sure we're a couple behind.
We are.
Right. So once that's updated, this list will get changed.
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, I think this is going to be, oh God, I shouldn't even say this. This will make 5 episodes I'm behind on.
I can tell you if I sort by episode here. Oops, I just don't add a column. I hate Excel. Hold on one second. The last episode that was on iTunes as of last week was episode 336, Trial of the Chicago 7.
No, that can't be
you
right.
Haven't, you don't even have the Oscar episode up yet. No.
That can't be right.
That as far as iTunes is concerned, that's right.
336 is the last one?
When I compiled this list.
Oh my God.
Unless you've done it recently.
No. That'll make this episode we're doing currently right now 8
from the future.
8 episodes behind.
No, we're in the future.
There's no
Everybody else is catching up.
way I'm 8 episodes behind. How's that possible?
So once again, I finished a project for the show. I just want to underline that.
I'm going to finish a project
maybe
tomorrow.
Maybe we'll have bumpers next week.
Maybe.
I've
already stopped using our intro, even though I love it and I love the graphics of the intro that we have. But there's so many things in that intro that don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to get some new stuff going.
Yeah. So.
Although, and I have to incorporate. I got to do something that incorporates that Family Guy line, where it's just Carter yelling off screen, "People are allowed to like things." I heard that. I was like, "That's us. That's us right there."
Yeah.
Ever on that edge. So anyway, this is our 6th film of 1976, Logan's Run, a perfect example of the height of sci-fi films in that year.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the following year, Star Wars comes out and just sets the bar so high. Sci-fi films actually get worse.
Let's not talk
not
that high.
It's pretty fucking high. Listen, you can shit on Star Wars all you want.
I'm not shitting.
Hold on, let me finish.
Yep.
and I'm not saying you. I'm saying like a generalization of like you can shit on Star Wars as much as you want, but as far as how just the what is it, the small scale miniatures that they use, the way they move through space, just the sets, the desert scapes, all of that stuff, that was done better than literally everything up leading to it, with maybe the exception of 2001, which, by the way, some of the team that did 2001 were hired to do Star Wars, and that's why the quality is so high.
But you're just comparing special effects, and that's style over substance.
Well, that's all I'm talking about. I'm just talking about.
Also, let me just say, as far as shitting on Star Wars or anything else, I approach that like I approach all the bad movies that we do on the show. It's because just because it's bad doesn't mean you can't like it. I'm not saying no one's allowed to like Star Wars.
And when I said you, I didn't mean specifically you.
I know,
I'm saying you as a generalization of the term.
Just wanted to dial it back and just make sure no, I'm not taking anything personally.
Oh, I know.
So we get Avatar territory, we're fine.
I mean, well, think of it this way: the film opens up. Logan's Run opens up with small scale miniatures.
Very nicely done. I'm very impressed. I liked it.
You could absolutely tell. I mean, it had a very, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood kind of feel to it. A little bit. This easily could have been the opening shot to I just had the name in my goddamn mouth. The puppet show movies, Thunderbirds. Oh, sure.
This easily could have been a Thunderbirds opening. Yeah, so it's got that feel to it. The only thing that's going to keep it from feeling like that is the music and the context of the film.
Right.
So the opening, which starts off with bubble wrap domes that feeds into this fantasy scope behind me, is, it's a nice tableau in miniature, which you really don't, we don't see much nowadays.
Right. So this was my challenge to Scott.
Yes.
I moved us out of 1975 into 1976.
Mm-hmm.
Escape the Witch Mountain just really set me over the top. I was so done.
Mm-hmm.
So
you went
angry.
from kids fantasy to sci-fi.
Correct.
I'll be taking this in a slightly different direction afterwards.
I hope so.
We'll focus on this one.
That would be fine.
Now, this is the first time I've watched the film in at least 20 years.
I've actually never seen this movie.
Oh, very interesting. So, this being your first viewing, what's your initial take on the film? I mean, again, this is a classic film. There's no reason for us to go step through it. We're not doing a walkthrough video. So we'll talk about the plot, but let's just dial it back from that. I just want to know what your initial impression is of the film.
My initial impression, overall, is that I liked it. I actually liked this film, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There's things to not like as a
sure,
on a broad scale.
Don't apologize.
I'm not apologizing, but as a film in its entirety, I found it enjoyable. I did, genuinely.
All right, beyond liking it though, what's your takeaway from the film? What's your overall?
Well, I never read the book, so I don't have that to go by.
I couldn't be arsed to myself either. Yeah.
My generalized take on this is that it seemed like they were trying to go for very high quality, and for the most part kind of achieved it. I don't know if I would say that the very best people were involved in making this. But here's that shot where none of the women are wearing bras. I mean, that's a thing.
Yeah,
I noticed that immediately.
You mean the orgy level?
Pretty much, yeah.
I like part of the escape. The part of their escape from the city is through the orgy level.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. They go
and that's like the final level too. Like inside, as far as until they get to the ice caves. and all that nonsense.
Right.
And for me, the ice caves is where the credibility of it takes a nosedive. For me, it's the equivalent of when the guy has the fish during that fight sequence in Snowpiercer.
Oh,
the minute I saw the fish, I was like, "Fuck you! I'm done."
the fish.
None more of this bullshit.
And then I get a phone call from Scott 15 minutes later. We're reviewing this tomorrow. I'm like, what?
At some point, I'm going to watch the first episode of the TV show they did based on it, just to see. It's based on a comic book, so maybe the interpretation was off. I don't know. I know it's still a bad film. I'm not apologizing.
Oh no.
But anyway.
So you asked me what my take.
Yeah. What's your overall view of the film? Like this, as far as theme, structure, blah blah blah.
I mean, obviously, it's a futuristic film. It takes place in the 23rd century, so
it's a utopian
future where you can't live past the age of 30.
Right, but when you say utopian future, it kind of it belies the underbelly of a dystopian once the secrets are revealed. But yeah, I mean that's the tricky part of calling it a utopian.
Right.
But as far as how it's supposed to be, yeah, on the surface, it's utopian. I'm splitting hairs. Shut up, Scott.
My generalized take on it, I don't know. It's not a complicated film in any way, right? What is happening
it kind of is.
I hear screaming.
It's the rapture. Don't worry about it. Everybody's safe.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
No.
I wouldn't say that it's that complicated.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand, or maybe if I read the book, it goes into more elaborate detail of why they can't live past the age of 30. I kind of get that they use the men to create, more people.
Well, that's how we do it now.
What?
We
No. It's like men and women are not having sex. They are.
Yeah, they are.
No, for pleasure they are, but for procreation, it's like a test tube thing happening.
All right, yeah, they separate two. I mean, parts of this utopia resembles Brave New World.
Yeah.
At least as far as like the open hedonistic pleasures. They're romping around like the above ground people in the original Time Machine.
Yeah.
And in this case, the Morlock is like themselves, or the machine really that runs everything.
Right. And then when you reach your 30th birthday, you go into this. I forget what it's called. It's a spiral of some kind, a spinner, a wheel, or
carousel.
The carousel. That's right. I have no idea why I couldn't remember that. I'm literally describing everything that a carousel does.
It was only like 30 seconds. Carousel to begin now.
Yes, I know.
Carousel. Actually, Holly watched this with me.
Oh, really?
And
no, I watched this one alone as usual.
Oh no, this one I dragged Holly into, and we got into some weird argument about the fact that the carousel took place every day, and I was like, yeah, because every day is a birthday for somebody.
Right.
She's like, yeah, but they couldn't be having this many of them. There have to be days, where I was like, no, that's the whole point. Everybody has a birthday day, but they're making them. So if they're making them on the same day, then you're going to have but everybody has I don't know what either of us was trying to express, but it took 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, this film drove us insane.
Oh my god!
They have teleporters, and what are they using it for? Oh, dial up prostitutes. Hey, I like when the guy pops up.
The guy pops up first.
Well, he just gives like a smile, like nah.
Not tonight. I'm not in the mood.
It was cool. It was a lot better than the whole prostitute sequence in Rollerball.
Oh well, it's true.
They sold it in this one. I just.
Well, what's funny is when he puts out the call for that, anybody that's willing to answer can, and then they teleport through.
It's basically teleporter. If you had a teleporter in Craigslist,
right?
But in the real world, that would just end society within 17 hours.
Yeah, it would just
altogether.
destroy
Nothing
it.
left but a smoldering pile. But
So the guy answers first, and he's just like, nah. And then the girl answers,
Not
and
today, big boy.
and then she comes through, and he immediately is like, well, let's go have sex. And she's like, well, I don't want to. He's like, well, what the hell did you answer the thing for?
Hey.
He's like, what'd you answer for? And she's like, well,
I underlined sex twice. We come on.
yeah. She's like, well, I need help. I need to talk to somebody. He's like, what? He's just so uninterested. She's like, come on.
Yeah, and so she's trying to.
And when they go to the carousel,
what's she trying to do though? What she's asking for help for?
Her friend, was killed, which earlier in the scene
Was a runner.
Was a runner, which, what is it, Sandman? They're called Sandmen, or Sandman. Him and his buddy went after that guy and killed him. So she went through because she's seeking help, because she's thinking of, she knows something is going on, like something's not right, and she goes to him to try and get some movement on that.
Right, and they recruit him, not realizing he's a Sandman.
Well, the mainframe, the computer that runs everything, the machine, basically puts him, it's on a secret mission to find Sanctuary, which, and he has 4 years left before his 30th birthday, and they take them away.
And
he keeps asking if he can get them back, and the computer doesn't answer.
I want to reveal right now the true level of my geekiness, and just say that the whole idea that this society here is run by a computer that has no contact with the outside world and doesn't really understand anything is really, it feels like an extension of the Paranoia role-playing game that I used to DM.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it really just has that feel. And the whole idea of the gaming system was all these individual domes that survived the nuclear war that never happened can't communicate with each other. So really, Logan's Run would fit into that reality, where this is just what. Actually, Fallout did the same thing with vaults. Just think of the exact same thing. True. Fallout, Paranoid did it with alpha complexes or complexes. That's just a geek level thing there. Sometime in the next 50 years, one person will see that and laugh their ass off, and that'll be the end of it.
Nice.
Now, so the whole idea of the carousel, and everybody, when they do the carousel, they're ascending. And the whole idea is that they're ascending to the next level. Sanctuary.
And there's a request that you can make. Is it rejuvenation, rebirth?
That's the rejuvenation. That's what it is. Basically, when it comes time for the rejuvenation, you're part of that rejuvenation. And the whole idea of rejuvenation is to, again, ascend you to the next level.
Okay.
And you either volunteer for the carousel to rejuvenate and ascend, or they gun you down like a dog. It's really not much of a choice, let's be fair. But the whole idea is the machine makes him his jewel go off before it's supposed to. He's only 26.
Right.
He's not ready. He's not ready for the carousel yet. No. So when it does that to him,
red, right? When you're ready for the carousel,
it starts flashing. Flashing. Yeah. So that's what spurns him to actually do the mission, because the computer actually forces him into the mission, and this whole thing. What actually happens is when he talks to the machine further, he realizes that when it counts the number of runners that are unaccounted for, it includes the number of people that have ascended through the carousel.
Right, and he's asked how many have been rejuvenated, and
there's no answer.
There's no answer.
Right. So basically, what it's telling him is that nobody has ever actually rejuvenated out of thousands of people. And actually, that seems like a low number, but I guess considering we're assuming this is just one city and not one of many.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's the entire world. It's just one. And
I will say, if it's just this one city, maybe there was a high number of people for that one carousel. That would have taken out a chunk of your workforce there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just like an odd day where there's a lot of people. They were crowded. That's why they had to double up.
Yeah, and if it is just a small city like that, maybe you should let them live past 30.
Well, but it's the whole idea of this idea of worshipping like youth and spurning age. But more importantly, when he finds this out, this is really the analogy here, and I believe this is the reason why this film, even despite countless attempts, has never been remade really to this day.
It had a TV show the following year or 2 years later, but that's it.
Right. But as far as like modern adaptations and like Hollywood has been champing at the bit to do this for decades, never going to happen. And I think this is why. The analogy of this whole thing is that he discovers that there is not a heaven.
Right.
And what this turns into is science versus humanism, or the different sciences, the humanities versus the sciences, the arts versus science, and it's also about society hinging on the lie of a heaven, of a fake religion,
right,
to control the masses, and escaping that. And at the same time, it's also showing that the technologies that people were seeing as like the idyllic on the back end, like it totally ignores human nature. That's why they're just okay with killing people when they turn 30. They have no human connection. And that it's that lack of connection to nature and humanity and the arts specifically. That's why we end up at the Capitol building with the guy quoting poetry.
Yeah.
It's all about the humanities and art and versus just cold science and rationality. So there's a shitload going on in this film.
Yeah, well, if you break it down like that, sure.
I'm gonna take a breath now. Sorry.
It's okay. And you don't think Hollywood would want to try and make this? I mean, Hollywood is pro-science.
No, they do. They've been trying.
No. But you're saying it'll never happen. I don't think so. I think at some point Hollywood would try to make this, and would probably try and make it with a current topic, current event.
I would make the argument
type scenario.
I would make the argument it's a combination of it being too complicated because you're really getting into the whole pro-atheist viewpoint, which is not going to which will be popular in Hollywood, but you're really going to lose the whole Bible Belt. But also, it's such and this is why I don't like. I like my 70s sci-fi silly, and I like my 70s sci-fi silly or psychedelic. And I like my 70s fantasy just goofy or dark. But okay. I really can't handle the melodrama, and I really can't handle this really straight sci-fi where everything's test tubes, and then I'll throw 20 words. Isaac Asimov bores me. It's just me. Nothing against him as an artist. The shit bores the hell out of me. So, but if you look at Logan's Run and break it apart, it's very cliche. It's down to just very, very basic constructs. I was able to break it down to two different really big arguments because that's all it is. This is like most sci-fi, especially from the 70s. It's just like a template where you plug in society's ills and then you do a mirror of it to show what's wrong with it. It's that's why Black Mirror kind of like faded out after a couple of years. It's all sci-fi is.
Yeah,
there's only so much.
They did do a new season last year. They do a new season like every 2-3 years.
No one's talking about it. Yeah. I don't hear about it anymore.
No, I mean the seasons are only like 5 episodes. So
right. I'm not arguing against sci-fi, but I mean, you can. There's been countless films made that very closely resemble a Logan's Run setup, because all you have to do is change one or two things, and you've got a whole different story.
Right.
Your basic setup is society has this restriction. You don't agree with the restriction. All of a sudden, you're thrust in a conspiracy where you have to fight against the decision. I mean, honestly, Logan's Run, you could break it down to The Matrix real easy.
Yeah, true.
All sci-fi breaks down like that. That's why it's boring a lot of the times. And that's why I'm taking us out of sci-fi with my challenge.
Good.
I got to say my favorite part of the film, which I live in Texas now, and I've been to the fountains that they show in this film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had pictures of me, and I was going to show them during the show, but I was lazy and stupid, and I never pulled them up and sent them to you. But me and my parents.
Well, you could email them to me now, and I could just throw them on the screen.
I don't care. Well, I'll put them on Facebook.
Okay. On
our Facebook page. Yeah, it's right down here in the Fort Worth area, and it's the fountains. The same fountains at the end where they come out and go back in. Is where they leave the old guy standing there waiting.
Yeah, Peter Ustinov, who
really
I like every scene that he's in.
Oh well, he's a genius.
But it's just like when he's talking, it's like, yeah, my parents, I'm talking about. It's like he's like that low and almost like under his breath kind of talking, but you understand every word he's saying, even though he's doing that. But
well, I mean,
it just every scene that he's in is just I'm just magnetized to his performance.
And here's where I apologize to the writers for some of the shit I've been talking about sci-fi, because there's certain things here. For example, he's just came from a society where everybody knows what's right and wrong. There's a defined answer. Right. Everything's like, it's Triplandia. So you have to die at 30 because this is that, that's this. He's had everything thrown upside down where he doesn't understand anything anymore. So they find Ustinov, who portrays the humanities or the arts, and he asks him. And if you go back and watch, you'll notice the first 2 or 3 things they ask him, he's like, I don't know. Maybe. He exposes his own ignorance because that's part of wisdom, and that's where knowledge. He's the wisdom, whereas we've lost wisdom with knowledge. You see that parallel. Yeah. No.
Absolutely. So you were asking me what my favorite scene was.
Yeah, I sorry, I cut myself short because I just wanted to make sure I got in the fountains. I was at the fountains.
You were at the fountains.
Yes.
Favorite scenes. I don't know.
Mine is because of Holly.
I mean, maybe that ice scene with the robot, and he's just like, "I'm doing my job." I kind of enjoyed that.
When they go, all right. So again, he turns into a runner, so he has to escape.
Right.
And so there's a bit of cat and mouse bullshit that wastes time, and it means absolutely nothing. Fuck all to the film, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Huge sections of it's like, all right, we're just fucking wasting time. But so they once they get through the orgy, which apparently is the most densely packed portion of the Utopia.
I mean,
I have no problem with that.
Not surprised.
Duh. I no wonder the shopping mall part of Utopia is in the center. Oh.
Which, by the way, I mean, this film is supposed to be the 23rd century, but it just screams 60s and 70s.
It's got that pop retro feel, yeah. It's another reason why it stayed a classic too, because it's still kind of impressive, even though it is dated.
I mean, still shots just look like a Sears catalog.
Exactly. Yeah,
like for real.
But it's almost like the poster child for it at this point. It's like the best of cheese. So once they get past the orgy realm, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't have made it past there.
No, I would have been like, this is where I die.
What were we doing? No.
Can we stop here first? I mean, like, what's the rush?
Yeah, we just stop here. The movie's half an hour long. We're done. But so somehow that leads to ice tunnels, where that robot rolled out. I was like, shit, this is the best the future has to offer. No wonder we don't have flying cars. This is bullshit. Yeah, it's like with the useless arms running around, and so basically they find out that they ran out of plankton because no one's manning the machines. The Morlocks all died, so no one's at the wheel. So these robots that are left to try to maintain things have been taking everybody that tries to escape, freezing them, and soiling green as people.
Yes.
They don't really specify like if the plankton is about to run out or already has. I'm willing to believe it has for a while.
You know what's interesting too is this like you were saying, anyone that tries to escape, this robot takes care of them, and I don't understand why it's a problem getting by this robot, because there is pretty much zero threat. Peter York has no issue. Everyone is, and the thing is, it's like everyone is 30 years or younger.
Now,
you should be young, nimble, and able to fucking just get by this thing.
If I was a sci-fi geek and I wanted to defend this film, I would say you could theorize that most of these bodies that are frozen occurred way before they actually had the Sandman set up, and that the Sandman were so efficient as they are now. So before that time, when they weren't able to actually really catch these people, they would just run. And back then, the robot was much more efficient, and that's as far as I can make excuses for it. It's not bad good planning. It's bad sci-fi. We know that.
Cool story, bro.
So where am I going with this? They get through the ice caves.
Yes.
And they go to find society, and instead they find Washington D.C. overrun animals in nature. You bastards, you blew it up, you did it.
You damn dirty apes.
And they find an old guy living in the Capitol building. Or Library of Congress. I forget which building he was actually in. I think it was because I think he's in the Senate at that point. So I think he's in the Capitol building. So I think it's like So I think this takes place on January 11th. No, January 6th. Sorry. And he's stormed the Capitol building, but he's actually been living there for like decades with a bunch of cats.
Yep.
And he speaks in poetry, and and again, the whole idea he is. All of that. So they decide, and I'm wrapping it up because I'm going to tell you my favorite part.
Okay.
Did I skip anything you wanted to talk about?
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to step on you.
No. Well, the only thing that you might want to mention is that Peter Ustinov is old. He's the only person that is, and it's important because they've been told that they can't live past the age of 30, and they venture out and they meet someone that is well past that, and because no one will believe them, because everyone has been kind of brainwashed into the carousel and being rejuvenated and all that stuff. So their whole mission at that point is to try and bring him back to show everyone that, listen, you can live past 30 and you can live a long life.
And I don't even think it's I think it's partly like you can't live by 30, but also the belief that you shouldn't. And that this is an undesirable effect, and you want to rejuvenate because being old is the worst thing to possibly be.
Right.
So they decide to dispel that by bringing the old guy to the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I mess that up?
Nope. No,
Okay.
You got it.
So when they go so that all goes tits up though.
Yeah.
Because They leave the old guy outside, go inside, and then they burn Utopia to the ground.
Yeah. Well, when they jump in the water, Peter Ustinov, the old man, because his name in the film is just old man. He just goes, oh my.
Well, he's like a cat.
Well, here's the thing. It's like he's an old man. They just jumped in this like rapid like water to get back into the city, and the old man ain't doing that.
Right.
So he's just going to hang around and just wait for them to come get him. Mm-hmm. That's basically what's happening.
If you think about it, the fact that he doesn't have a name kind of like is a throwback to the whole poem that he recites. I forget if it's C.S. Lewis or T.S. Eliot. I don't give a shit. But about cats have 3 names. One you give them, one that they already have, and one that only they know.
Yeah, and then that they'll never tell.
Yeah, and so that's why I don't call cats by names. I just yell at them and throw things.
It's a good plan.
That's a lie.
It's a good plan, though, even though it doesn't work.
So after the good there's a whole conflict here with a good the good Sandman and the bad Sandman.
Correct. And the bad one is played by what's his face?
That guy.
It's Richard Jordan.
Yeah.
Francis.
Also the bad guy in Deadpool. Hey, look at that. And Logan is Wolverine. Wow, this is getting creepy now.
Oh yeah, look at
Holly and Farrah Fawcett plays Holly in this film, so Holly was thrilled.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's like, well, there's the best character in the film.
There it is. And at that time, she was going by the name Farrah Fawcett Majors. Yeah, Farrah Fawcett Majors.
Yeah.
She hyphenated.
Yeah, didn't she marry the $6 Million Man or something?
Lee Majors?
Yeah, Lee Majors, $6 Million Man.
$6 Million Man, Lee Majors.
Right.
You've been a very good boy. No, I'm doing lines from Scrooge now.
Right. So there's a whole conflict with the other. They were close friends. They were buddy Sandman, but now the one feels betrayed that the other one's a runner, even though he's not. It's 4 years too soon for him.
Right.
And there's a conflict. They end up burning down Utopia. It happens. And so all these young people flood out into the open around the fountains, and the old man standing there. And so the people, it was there's like surrounding. There's probably a picture of it in the slideshow, and there's these young people surrounding this old man, and the one young girl comes up and just feels his hair, and he's like, and she looks back, and then Holly right next to me, let's eat him. God damn it. We're having a moment. But going back to the ice caves, no one ever talks about this film and references cannibalism.
No.
I had very little memory of this film from when I saw again I don't care for sci-fi, so back then I just kind of watched it once because you're supposed to, forgot about it. I didn't remember that there was cannibalism involved in this.
Like I said, I've never seen it, so
I didn't remember the orgy level either. So I mean, there's obviously a lot.
As a kid, I would have remembered that had I seen this then.
How young though? I mean, when this came out, I was 3.
I was born. This is my birth year.
Is it right? So if you saw it the year it came out, you wouldn't remember it.
When did this come out? It came out June 23rd, 1976. I was 1 week old when this came out.
See, no way you would have remembered that.
No. I don't know. Maybe. I got a pretty good long-term memory's pretty good. See,
and you and I are only 3 years apart, but even now, this is why I'm afraid to talk about movies with like my coworkers that are like 10, 15 years younger than me, 20 maybe. Where
yeah, I
don't want to mention a film and like just like, all right, another one where I'm that old. Really? It's from the 80s. Come on.
Yeah, I have a coworker that's 14 years younger than me, and yeah, I talk about movies all the time, and he's just like,
17.
It's like, oh, I've never seen that, and it's like, oh, I don't know that one. It's like, dude, this movie's from 1994. How do you not know this one?
It's wonderful when you want to recommend a film. But when you're just making an offhand reference and waiting for a chuckle and instead get, what's that? Oh,
no,
fuck.
No.
Really?
You stay within your age group for shit like
Spinal Tap.
No, dude, you can't.
Dude, the kid's a musician. He's been in a band, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Doesn't know Spinal Tap. What the fuck? Fuck you. Come on. That's silly. What? The world I've constructed around me is crumbling like wet cake, Joey. What am I going to do?
But I bet he knows the movie Never Stop Stopping, or whatever that fucking movie is with, what's his face? Andy Samberg.
Oh, yeah.
The pop star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. I bet he knows that one. I bet he's seen that one probably 3 times. Knows that one.
I like some of his songs, but I'm not watching that. I just...
No.
But, I mean... And also, we didn't mention too. It's the 23rd century. This is one of those sci-fi films too, where they have to give you the plate up that explains everything, the whole future, what's going on.
Yeah.
But this one you don't even need because Logan's going to run. That's it. Oh, by the way, horrible title.
Oh yeah.
Well, horrible title in context. If just on the surface, Logan's Run is actually a decent title until you tell me that the main character's occupation is he's a Sandman. How is that not in the title? Trial of the Sandman. Sandman Runs. Death of a Sandman. Really? That's not Logan's Run. Logan, run.
The film, the book, and everything, it's just so well known at this point.
Yeah,
the name sounds right,
and that's my fear sometimes, though. I mean, because you can't take this stuff on face level. I mean, even though it's known as a classic, we should be able to take a look at it after 10, 20 years. This is why we're fucked as a country. We think the Constitution makes sense after 300 years. We haven't done a decent rewrite of it forever.
That's never gonna happen.
200, whatever the fuck. I don't care.
200.
Shut up.
What? It is 200. And the only reason I know that is because I'm born in 1976, the bicentennial year That was the birth of our country.
Right, but I'm thinking ahead because we're in the 23rd century with Logan's Run.
Well, yes.
So I'm adding
I
a
mean,
couple.
at this point, you're looking at over 400 years. So,
yeah. So then I lowballed it. Just playing it safe, Joey.
Actually, no. That's wrong. 1776 to is it the year 22? Something because it's the 23rd. Yeah, so it would be about 500 years later.
All right.
Yeah.
Where are you going with this?
I'm not going anywhere. I wish I could say I was going somewhere with that, but I'm not.
It's a film that's a lot smarter than I remember it being, and that I ever gave it credit for as far as sci-fi films go. I don't know how much of that is intentional, and I don't know how much of that is recognized by the film community as a whole. I didn't really do any research on how this film has been accepted by critics because I don't give a shit. I have better luck.
No, this has been received pretty well.
I don't mean, but again, I'm not talking about well. I'm talking about if they broke it down into the whole atheist versus religion, that stuff. That's more critical analysis.
Somewhere someone has, but nothing that we.
But that's not what it's known for.
No, not
it's
at
known
all.
for the goofy guy running because his hand has a red gem in it.
Yeah.
I was going to do something like that too. I used to have the Eclipso gem from the comic books that came on the cover.
Oh.
Because it fell off, and I thought but I couldn't find it.
Oh, it's in a box.
I didn't really have any other.
It's in a box somewhere.
Yeah, but other than that one gem, I really don't have gems.
Oh my god,
it was plastic.
My kids have shit everywhere.
Oh, you have children? Yeah, you're gonna find
it. If I really thought about it, I probably could have done something. Hell, I could if I step away for 2 minutes, I probably could do something.
I mean, I think that's there's not much else beyond that.
No, not really.
It seems like a very surface film, and it can be taken as a very surface film, and just for the stupid sci-fi aspects. But
right,
there's a lot of deeper ground, but it does it the same way the Time Machine does, where it just hints at it and then makes you guess at the end and says, "Well, fuck it, we're not really here for that. We're here to entertain." And I can't fault them for that.
Nope, definitely not.
But that's still not my favorite film.
Still not.
Yeah. Let's eat them.
All right, so since we're done looking at this film,
yeah,
it's currently a 6.8 on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking? I'm thinking a 6.
7.
You want to give it a 7? I mean, I think it's
No.
better than a 6, but I don't know if it's a 7.
You know why I want to do 7 is because before I rewatched the film, I was like, it's a 6. It's a sci-fi film. It's popular, but it's really nothing more than that. Then after I watched it, I've got 2 whole different thematic structures to the thing going on, and I found a lot more layers to it than I expected. And for that kind of writing in a 70s sci-fi film, I think it really is a bit underrated, unless we give it a 7.
As far as 70s sci-fi goes, and again, with the exception of Star Wars,
it beats the fuck out of Westworld.
That's
sorry.
No, that's where I'm going. I mean,
from.
it's with the exception of Star Wars, this film was done very well.
Yeah,
it really was. So I'm fine with a 7. I didn't think you were going to go for it, to be honest.
Well, again, I'm basing it solely on the writing of this film, the screenwriting, not the pretty.
Yeah,
thing,
I mean,
not
7's kind of high. 7 is kind of high. I mean, once you get into 7 territory, you're like, you're heading towards almost an Oscar nomination area.
But you know what? We commonly err on the side of caution. I think this is one where we can afford to go a little bit higher.
All right, let's go. 7. I'm good.
7 it is.
I'm in.
All right.
All
I
right.
bet you think I'm not prepared for you this week, aren't you?
No. You've already said that you were. Why would I question that?
I don't know. I don't remember
not
saying
like,
I was.
It's not like normal weeks.
Oh, I did mention I was prepared. Never mind.
You did say that.
That's right. So let me back up then. Bad approach. Yeah. So
hold on. As a matter of fact, you've mentioned several times that you're going in an opposite direction.
That's what I have to say. Yeah. So we did sci-fi,
yes.
and then before that, we kind of did sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Or sci-fantasy. So
Plus,
I want
we
to get
also
away
did,
from that.
A Boy and His Dog. I mean, it's
right.
post-apocalyptic.
Well, I don't want to review too many like Oscar films. So I'm trying to keep it in the genre categories. So what's the genre category you think of that would be opposite sci-fi?
The very, very opposite of sci-fi?
Well, I'm roughly opposite. Let's not get specific.
I mean, maybe drama.
No, genre fiction.
Oh, genre. Okay, the opposite of sci-fi. Fantasy.
All right, I'll stop playing games. I'm going to go towards horror. Horror.
Well, no. I always associate horror with sci-fi.
Because there's genre, but because there's genre films, they're in the whole genre.
You're asking me the opposite. I'm like, what's the opposite,
well, the
of
opposite
sci-fi horror? You go drama.
But no, genre films within the genre categories. What's the opposite of sci-fi? The sci-fi horror. That's the spectrum, and then in it you have the different genre fiction.
I'm not going to argue. I'm too tired to argue this.
I overcomplicated it, and I'm probably wrong. I apologize.
It's okay. I don't care enough.
Anyway, I'm taking it away from sci-fi. We're doing horror, and in this case, we're doing the film that the movie's Heathers ripped off.
Film.
You know, I've talked about this before, and it's always stuck in my craw. And it never bothered me until I listened to the audio commentary to Heathers. So this next episode, we should make it a cross review because we're going to talk about Heathers enough where it's going to be a review.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to rewatch Heathers. I've seen it 100 times.
That's what I'm saying. But we're going to talk about it so much, we might as well be a joint review of Heathers and Massacre at Central High. And I guarantee we'll get more views, listens, or whatever, because there's a select amount of people that would actually make that connection when they see it. So they'll want to hear my opinion on it.
Uh-huh. So it's a horror film, 1976.
Yes.
And it's basically Heathers ripped it off.
100%.
I can't really think of any 70s horror films.
It's kind of under the radar.
When it comes to horror, my memory, like everything that I think of it's literally 80s.
Right. Well, you might think that, but here's an example. This film, the first time I ever saw it was on public broadcast TV. It was an edited version.
Okay.
So I saw this on regular television, like Channel 5 or 3, 2, whatever the fuck I was. With commercials.
Sure.
It was on a regular television channel. So a lot of these films we see accidentally through like a lot of us became martial arts films martial art film fans inadvertently just because of like the Sunday afternoon films.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that one channel would always play.
You know what's funny? In New Jersey, we used to have, it was on channel, was it channel 5? I think it was channel 5, but it was before it was Fox. It was Philadelphia 29. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And then on Saturdays, at 3 o'clock, every Saturday at 3 o'clock, they would show kung fu movies.
Yeah.
My father and I, we would watch those together every Saturday at 3 o'clock, and we would record them. We had hundreds of VHS tapes with hundreds of kung fu films on it, and my father threw them all away. And I told my dad, I'm like, what? Stop.
I think that's what some people forget sometimes is when we talk about being influenced by films through our lives, we're not just talking about the movies we go to see in a movie theater with some friends on the weekend. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the movie that you're watching in the kitchen sink while you're doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Or in the kitchen. Not,
right.
The TV would not be in the sink, but you know what I mean. These are films that we like, it's almost like we absorb these films subconsciously throughout our lives. So even if you haven't seen the film, you know enough of it. But anyway, the film that's a specific case in point for this film, which I'm challenging to you, which is Massacre at Central High.
Massacre at Central High. Now, I just hopped on my favorite website called The Numbers, and there's JD's Revenge, came out August 25th. When did that come out in October? Let's see.
I don't know.
Massacre at Central High. It actually doesn't have it listed there for some reason. Massacre at Central High.
In 3-part harmony.
It came out in November. Oh man, you remember when we used to do our top 10, and we used to talk about movies coming out, and then we'd always do a list of films coming out for the new year. You know, these are the summer blockbusters. We used to do shows like that for content. And when we used to do our top 10, we'd always talk about, and I would always bring it up because it was always my thing, about how horror films would always push over into November because there was no room to release them in October.
Unless you only had 1 or 2.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of that. Massacre at Central High should not have come out in November. It should have come out in October. And I've never seen this either. A high school transfer student pushed to the edge by a trio of brutal bullies resorts to murder to reclaim the school from oppression, and later turns against the students wanting to fill the vacuum of their oppressors.
Change the focus of the male lead to a female lead, and there's your fucking Heathers.
Yeah.
And you'll see many more similarities, especially near the end when we watch it.
Really?
Now, I also wanted to bring up some other... I also did some pie charts and some bar charts of all of our films. So I want to point out that the busiest decade we have as far as film reviews, and this is because of the Oscars most likely, is the 2010s.
Maybe. Is that because we started our show in 2009?
And because we started our Oscar reviews then, too. So no matter what we do, we squeeze in like a dozen current films every year.
Definitely.
But films that were released in the 2010s, we reviewed 107.
Holy shit.
Yes, that makes up 37% of our movies that we reviewed have taken place in the 2010s.
So just in that decade, 107 films.
Uh-huh.
And we've done 344 episodes.
The most we've done for a year is 2012. We have 16 films reviewed. And actually, that ties with 1984.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot going on here.
Look at this, Mr. Pie Chart.
Dude, this is like half my week these days. just getting numbers for people so they can not use them. I'm fine with that. And
then at some point you were like, since I'm crunching all these numbers, I may as well do something for something I like.
I had a blank spreadsheet open. What can I say? I've also started attaching episodes as audio commentary tracks on movies on my Plex.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I have 7 of them so far. Hold on. Let me. I have a column just for this. Let me sort my column. Yes, I want to expand the selection.
Is Jaws 3D one of them?
No, because I'm actually going by. I have a system. I don't know what that system is. Oh, I'm going by year.
Oh, okay.
So I have Rosemary's Baby, all of the Bela Lugosi films we did, Watermelon Man, Westworld, World's Greatest Athlete, and Soylent Green.
Nice. So
a separate audio track. The hard part was I had to cut episodes in half for the Bela Lugosi reviews.
Okay.
And then for one of the films, the episode was 20 minutes longer than the
movie
film.
Oh.
But luckily, that was an episode where my internet kept going out, so I was able to take out a 20-minute chunk. And it squeezed right in. So if anybody's listening to this episode and gets in contact with me through the Moviesucktastic fan page on Facebook, and they're interested in a copy of one of these films, I will, if we can arrange it through like a Google Drive or something, I will give you a copy of these films with the Moviesucktastic episode playing in the background.
Cool.
And that'll be your present for actually listening to the show and responding to it.
Or we can throw it on Google Drive and then just
that's what I'm
share
saying.
it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but they'd have to contact us to get the link.
Oh, I was just figuring we just give the link.
No. Leaving that wide open. What are you, insane, man? Jesus Christ, get the keys to the farm. You're in IT, right?
Yeah, I am.
Ooh. All right, let's wrap it up, Joey. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah. No. So next week, Massacre at Central High.
I love
it. And Heathers. It's a 2-movie episode technically.
Technically, yes. All right, let's go ahead and end this motherfucker. All right, go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. You can download and listen to all the shows there. You can go to our iTunes and you can download or listen to the shows there as well. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. If you'd like to leave us email, the address is themovieguys@Moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, it's 908-514-4470. And you can get the Android app for your Android device, phone, tablet, whatever it is, by going to moviesucktastic.com/mst.apk, and you can download it that way. Or you can just download your favorite podcast player for either your whatever phone you're using, whatever you're using. You can get your favorite podcast player and just do a search for Moviesucktastic. Our feed is in everything. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. And next week we'll be reviewing Massacre at Central High. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Yeah. When I finally lose my mind and go on a killing spree, I'm gonna have truth tattooed on one hand and justice on the other, and like be flaming letters right up the wrist.
Right up there.
Yeah. So if you ever bump into me and I have those tattoos, contact somebody. Shit's gone south.
Yeah, no, because if you do, run into Scott,
and when you come to Texas, we're getting tattoos.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are. That's
no, we're not.
We are. Don't worry about it.
We're really not.
Oh, you really are.
No, we're really not. You can get one. I'll watch.
No. We're getting matching.
No, we're not. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're really not.
Dude, Wesley and I already have a plan.
Are you going to drug me?
No.
Because that's the only way that's happening. All right. Bye.
But no, dude, seriously, we have a plan. It's the three of us are going to go to a strip club, and then it's going to end up at a tattoo parlor. It's happening.
Uh-huh.